Hey sweeties, welcome or welcome back to my channel. So for this video, I kind of just have been thinking about doing this video ever since the art class has come out. But obviously, as you guys know, if you're a Royal High player, campuses, they're all brilliant. They all got great classes. But then once Campus 3 came out, all of us have been, wanting all more classes to release. Now, luckily, the best thing about Campus 3 is you can do classes at any time. So you don't have to wait for it to be scheduled, which is really helpful for the people who want to grind and get that level up. So I decided what would be kind of fun is to try and see which is more beneficial for you, art or the rainy day classroom. So I'm going to do about the same time in each class and see which one gets me the most, diamonds, the most time I level up and everything. So we're going to first have to, head to the class. But let me explain the rules of what I'm going to be doing just to kind of make it very clear that I'm trying to make it as fair as possible. Okay, guys, so I've just managed to get it up. So it is just 5% full, but that is as close as I can have gotten it. I just had to level it up. So I've done that now, and yeah, so we're going to remember the stat of making sure that I'm on level 1282 once I've started. I know that's not how you say it, but the money as well, everything, just because we want to be able to start it. So I'm going to do 30 minutes in each class. We're going to do 30 minutes in the rainy day classroom first, and then we're going to do 30 minutes in the art class. Obviously, I will speed both processes up, but I will also be talking about pros and cons I noticed throughout each game. So make sure you guys don't just skip because it's very helpful, as it will be helping you guys remember what to do when you're in them, as also some tips and tricks that help me out when I'm unsure about things. So let's go and start the 30 minutes then. So, the first kind of tip that I would give you guys while you're playing in the rainy day classroom is definitely the brightness. Now, obviously, they don't really do lights out too much, but sometimes it can happen, so it doesn't really change much of it, but it does help a little bit. I would also suggest putting shift lock on if you're on computer because it helps you not have to move your mouse too much to keep changing your screen around, or just use the keys, but I think shift lock is very helpful. The next thing I would also say as well is definitely try and listen to some music, or probably, just something that's not as distracting. But luckily, in the rainy day classroom, a pro that I would definitely say is that, you don't really have to care too much about, what you're actually doing, as long as you can, you can see a little bit on the screen that you're no longer moving. So that means you can actually realize that you need to run to a chair. So as long as you are just kind of distracted so you can get along with the time, because it does take a long time to get through the round, which is definitely a con of it. It takes a long time to get just even any XP in just one round. It can get a lot, and there's no guarantee that you're going to definitely win, so it takes a long time for you to be able to get to where you want. I would also suggest that you guys just turn off the names and honestly just don't really pay attention too much to what people are saying, because it really does distract you. Another thing as well is also just completely don't even focus on people begging for you to let them win. Everyone's trying to win. It may sound selfish, but it is just a game. And if you try really hard, you do eventually win. It took me many, many rounds for me to even get one win. I've been a bit slacking with it. I was sloppy. It wasn't as good as I thought. But really, it's a lot harder than I was expecting. But realistically, at the end of the day, you can win if you just focus a little bit more. And obviously, a definite one is no typing at all, because if you type, you definitely get distracted, you don't really pay attention, and also you're wasting time. Yes! Oh, fine. Thanks, girl. I did it! Oh my god, I came first. My name's up there. That's right. And the reason that is because I believed in myself. And I finally got rid of the quest as well. And yes, the timer did go, so now we have to go to art class. So our class, luckily, it wasn't actually laggy while I was filming. That was something that I noticed a lot. In the rainy day classroom, it is a lot more laggy. It could be because there's like a lot of movement and it's an automated moving system, so they can't actually have any idea if it's going to help. But yeah, it is quite laggy. So this one, a pro, is definitely that I do think they fixed a lot of lag, at least for me. A lot of other people have said that there is quite a lot, but I would say that this one is definitely the easier one if you want less lag. And some things to help you is just genuinely the experience with the game. As you get more experience playing the game, you eventually can kind of just predict what the options will be, so you can already type what it's going to be. And something else that I actually did learn throughout playing it this time is that if you end up just writing down on the canvas what the actual thing is, if you're the person who's drawing it, everyone gets less XP because, you know, I guess there's some sort of way to tell how you're doing it. I don't know if that is actually a thing, but I noticed it when somebody got a book and then they ended up typing it or like writing it on the canvas, and that was all they did, and everyone only got 8 XP. So I'm definitely suggesting that, you know, it was definitely some sort of thing they did intentionally. Another thing, as you guys can see, I did skip a lot of my turns as well. This is simply because I figured it was a lot more easier to, you know, just try and find something a little bit more simple, because there was no way that I was going to be trying really hard to draw something that I knew wouldn't look good, because a minute is really difficult to try and draw a good picture, especially on computer, so it's a lot more difficult. So sometimes know your limits, because as I said, you cannot be writing it out, because otherwise then it will get less XP, and then that means you're not benefiting from it either. Okay guys, so now for the results of the entire process. So remember, I did only do about 30 minutes each. I did have a timer, so it should be fair, and I made sure that obviously I did finish exactly on the dot. So let's first analyze what we got from the rainy day classroom. So when I first started this, I ended up having 88,113, and then with going up 3 levels from 1,282 to 1,285, I managed to get 5,492. So my total was 93,605 in the end. Now, I know that sounds a lot because it's big numbers, but realistically, remember, so I barely got 5,500. That is the ultimate goal kind of thing. So obviously that was me, as well as having the rainy day classroom quest. So excluding that quest, I probably would not have been able to level up another amount. So it probably would have been 2 as well. But I will say though that it is actually really, really cool that I managed to do that much. I had no idea it was that much until I calculated it, but I was actually really surprised because, you know, it was a long time to be able to do it, and I even had to change servers. There's lots of pros and cons of the rainy day classroom, but it definitely does produce results. So there is definite pros to that one. Then we've also got the art class. Now, obviously, I've just completed that one, and I obviously, from my last result, I started at 93,605 and the level of 1,285. And then I ended up getting to 1,287. So only 2 levels up, and that means I only got 3,673 diamonds. So my ultimate end goal was 97,278. Now, that sounds like, again, oh my god, from 93,097, it sounds so amazing. It sounds like I got really high, and it is. That's only because I've managed to do a lot of grinding for diamonds recently, but ultimately, I'm not gonna lie, it's not as much as I was expecting. I did do 30 minutes, and you know, I was trying my best at guessing. I did skip a lot of turns as well, but you can still ultimately get a lot of levels up. Now, I'm not gonna lie, grinding in art class, you do get up a lot of levels, but for 30 minutes, it still does do less than the rainy day classroom. However, if I didn't have the rainy day classroom quest, I wonder if it would have been the same. Nonetheless, there was a huge difference in the results, but at the same time, they do seem quite similar. So it does seem that Royal High are doing very fair classes. But for me, I would still say art class is my favorite because rainy day classroom is way too stressful for me. But I would say if you're grinding for diamonds, the rainy day classroom is definitely the way to go. But perhaps you guys should try this yourselves without the quest and see what happens. I hope this was helpful, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye, everyone.